Mr Deputy Speaker, Queensland Health is facing its worst health crisis, and Queenslanders are finding it increasingly difficult to trust what this state government and what this minister says. There is a widening gap between what the minister knows and what the minister is sharing with Queenslanders. And as a result, the health crisis has continued to spiral for 7 long years. Mr Deputy Speaker, there is a cost of inaction. It can be delays to surgery, it can be delays in getting to hospital.
Order, member.
At its worst, a culture of cover-ups costs Queenslanders their lives. At the heart of this crisis is a state government that doesn't listen. It can't be trusted, and it's no longer open with Queenslanders. The health system is on red alert, the health minister is red-faced, and the government has been caught red-handed withholding information for its political survival rather than for patient survival. The failings at Mackay are damning, and the government knew about them. The government said we were scaremongering. The health minister wouldn't condemn it, and today the Premier wouldn't own it. But that statement was made from that side of the House. And do you know who is worse off when a government won't own its mistakes and won't work to fix it? Queenslanders are worse off. And Queenslanders are living through a health crisis 7 years in the making. In Mackay, what we have seen through the report into obstetrics and gynaecology is a catastrophic failure. 3 babies, lives lost. Young mums who will never be able to have a child again. We met one who was 24 years of age and will never have a child again. Next week, the Health Minister will finally go and speak to those victims. It will be the same faces that we saw a year ago, the same faces who bravely came forward and shared their stories 1 year ago when we were told we were scaremongering, when we were told there was nothing to see here, when we were told we were politicising it. How can Queenslanders and how can these women trust the minister and the government to fix this when they knew about it and they didn't do a thing about it? The report was delayed several times over several months, but the most damning delay was in the final week, when for political expediency they couldn't even front up on Wednesday when they'd booked a plane ticket. They couldn't even front up because it didn't suit their agenda, because it might cloud the political media cycle. So those women waited another 2 days, and they waited 2 days to be shut out. And the only person who spoke with them was the member for Whitsunday and the Shadow Health spokesperson. They weren't given that opportunity. And then the minister, after her press conference, after they were locked out, then she mentioned about how sorry she was and about her desire to fix the system 7 years in the failing. We raised about the surgeon. We asked the minister what she knew about the reprimands. When the minister found out about them, what did she do when she found out about them? Most importantly, how many patients were put in harm's way between when the minister was informed and when they finally acted? And my goodness, when I hear the word swiftly, there wasn't swift action at all. There was delays. And the only reason there were delays is because it didn't suit their political agenda. It didn't pass through the spin cycle of the 30 media spinners. And as a result, patients were put in harm's way, and boy, oh boy, we won't let the government off the hook, because those people deserve justice and the system deserves to be repaired. We raised about the 3 incidents over the 48-hour period. Let me recap to the government what they involved. A woman died due to the wrong drug dose. A stent was placed in the wrong kidney of a patient, and there was an undetected heart attack in an intensive care unit patient. The minister didn't even respond to a letter. Today, she accused the Shadow Minister of not supplying enough information. I'm sorry, but the way Westminster government works is the minister actually has to take charge of her department. Yes, I agree the Shadow Health Minister would do a far better job running a health system. But right now, this minister is the one.
Order, member for Stafford.
Right now, this minister is the one who has to accept responsibility for her failings. We raised
Order, members.
inquiry.
Order.
We raised the failings in the Forensic Services Lab, cultural issues, and we said someone had to take responsibility. When we raised it, the minister said she had no idea why we would want an inquiry and we were politicking. The minister said there was nothing to see here. Whistleblowers were discredited. Dr. Kirsty Wright was discredited, for goodness sake. And you wonder why. Imagine being a young health worker working in that Forensic Services Lab and you turn on the TV and see the vitriol coming from the minister. Do you think you'd come forward if you were a whistleblower? Not a chance. Not a chance. And that is the problem with this government. And that is what Coldrake highlighted. And that's why we need a royal commission into the way this mob operate. Because there is no way a whistleblower can feel confidence when the minister was harassing and making allegations of politicking, when all the opposition and whistleblowers wanted was for a lab that didn't allow rapists and murderers to walk free and innocent people not to be given a day of justice. We raised ambulance bypass. And why did we raise ambulance bypass? Because the AMBO told us to look for it. And the RTI exposed that for months the government said this wasn't happening. The government said it hadn't happened for a decade and it was happening on their watch. And the briefings show that the minister knew. And there is an increasing disconnect between what the minister is saying publicly and what she is being told privately. And there is only one reason for that disconnect, and that is because the political agenda of the day does not suit making that open and transparent, because after 7 years there's no one left to blame. After 7 years of a failing health system that has seen ambulance ramping go from 15% to 45%, in the case of the Redlands, as the member for Oodgeroo has highlighted, 73%, 3 in 4 who turn up waiting at the end of a ramp. And the question remains, when will it be back to 15%? Because when it was 30%, the former Premier Bligh said Queensland Health was a basket case. So please, Queenslanders won't accept a fall of a couple of percent and say, oh, well, job done. When will it be the 15% that this government had when it came to office and said the health system was in crisis? Yes. And then, Mr Deputy Speaker, the deaths in the AMBOs. We were told it wasn't happening. An RTI from a very short window just in the southeast revealed 20 Queenslanders who died waiting for an AMBO, in an AMBO on the way to hospital after delays, or at the end of an ambulance ramp. And the government said that wasn't happening. And we want to see the figures for every part of Queensland, and Queenslanders deserve to know what steps are being taken to heal the Queensland health crisis. We were told about Category 1A patients. You remember that? The Deputy Premier got the talking notes. The Health Minister said every Category 1A patient was being seen on time. Absolutely, categorically not true. The minister said every Category 1A patient was being seen on time. That was a Category 1A fabrication. It's not happening. And the report that we had to go looking, not that the government shares the information, that report showed just how false that statement was. Mr Deputy Speaker, you want to know what's most troubling? Every single one of these things have come to light since we were in this chamber last. In the last 6 weeks. This is what this government has presided over in the last 6 weeks. Queensland Health is in crisis and no one will accept responsibility or accountability. In a moment, the Deputy Leader is going to explain how this manifests to the dysfunction of the government. Then the Shadow Health spokesperson will say why this matters to Queenslanders. But let me make this pledge. There are solutions on the table. We are listening. We are out there. 25 times we've fronted up to a town hall, and there will be more. Mr Deputy Speaker, Queenslanders deserve a world-class health system. This government has stopped listening, the government has stopped being transparent, and nothing will change until the government does.
Speaker. Deputy Speaker.
I call the member for Springwood.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The world around us, both here and